Do you smell that? Smells like another video, another reaction, another breakdown to, well, my own music. This is now the third installment of this little series that I've been doing here where I pretty much just go in, I break down my music, I take it word for word, bar for bar, verse, chorus, any of that, one at a time, and just kind of tell you the story behind it all and tell you everything that was going on in my mind, everything that was going on at the time in my life. And yeah, just kind of give you a little bit of the story. So here we are. We're back again. And before I get started, I want to go ahead and shout out one other album. I've done this every video so far. I'm going to shout out another album that is very, very important and was just in heavy rotation while I was making this album. So that being said, this right here, my man Joey Badass with All American Badass. This album, by the way, look, the back of this is absolutely insane. But the inside of it has like a little, it's got like a little quote thing or like a passage more or less. I don't know if it's from Joey or who it's from, but it's from somebody, and it's incredible. Like the album itself, what it stands for, everything that it's about. I mean, the spiritual kind of just freeing vibe that it has on it is, it's just incredible. I cannot speak highly about it enough. I don't think that album gets enough love, even though it's the one that I feel like gets the most love from a commercial standpoint. It's an incredible album. Go check it out. I cannot speak highly enough about it. So without further ado, we're going to jump on into this after I roll the intro.
A Sean Childers production.
Today, we're going to break this video up a little bit. It's going to be a little bit of a change of pace. I've done this, the way that I've done this in the past has been, I've done the production and the lyrics together. I've done just the lyrics and then just the production. Instead, this time around, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm just going to do two separate videos as a whole. I feel like the videos are getting pretty lengthy. I don't really want to take too much time here. I mean, the album's an hour long almost. The last video I did was like almost an hour and a half. I can shorten that and you can just watch what you want to watch. We're just going to roll with that. So this video is going to be more focused on the lyrical side of things. If you want the other video, that will be coming out in the future. So just give me some time. I'll get around to it. I'm the one that has to do all this, chop it up, edit, make the music, do the promotion, do everything. So it takes me a little bit more time, but we'll get around to it, I promise. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into song number 3 on my album, Lovesick, God Knows. Here we go. All right, a lot to unpack there, but let's see. We're going to take this and jump straight up from the top. So let's see. Up here, we've got What a Time, Who Am I? I don't know. I don't really know, but I'm trying my best to figure it out. So going back into the last two songs that we've done, what you know about the story so far is that there was this girl I caught feelings for. It didn't really work out. I was basically obsessive over her. And really where it led me was to this point of like, I had a lot of work to do with myself, and I knew that. And I wanted to fix somebody else, and in doing that, it led me to this opening line, which is like, "What a time, who am I don't really know, but I'm trying my best to figure it out." I didn't really know who I was. I had an idea of just some general traits. I had an idea of who I wanted to be, but at that point in time, I really lacked the self awareness and the ability to self reflect and understanding who I really was at that point in my life. My sense of identity was really just not there. And going back to where I mentioned in Lovesick, that it's ironic that Lovesick is the way that it is, where it's like, am I lovesick or am I sick of love? Because that's a lot of borderline personality disorder when it comes to like splitting. That's one of the terms used and very common in borderline personality disorder is these very extreme black or white mentalities. And am I lovesick? Like, do I want this so badly that I'm willing to do whatever it is for it? Or am I sick of love, where it's like, damn, I'm so tired of this. I want to never be with this again. It's very exhausting, and it can really be hard to pin down what you really want and what you are really after. And it can also give you that fleeting sense of identity because of that, like because you don't really know what it is that you want, because you've lost track of that and you're swayed so strongly one way or another. So I was really at this point trying to figure out who I was. I was trying to figure out who I wanted to be. And at this point, the only inkling to what it was that I wanted to be and who it was like that I really wanted to be was I just wanted to be this girl's boyfriend. And that was it. That was gonna be it. And I really had to outgrow that. I had to get past that. And that's kind of where the next line comes in, where it's, where do I go? I don't know. All these questions, they leaving me clouded with so much fucking doubt. Like, I doubted everything. I second guessed every move that I was making. I struggled very, very heavily with my mental health at this point. And it was because I was constantly sitting at this fork in the road of like, okay, left, right, which way do I go? And that's kind of like in Lovesick, where I talk about like that road analogy. And I'm trying to figure out like which way to go. I'm at this fork in the road, more or less. This is more of that, of like, where do I go? Who is going to direct me in this way? And ultimately, what it had to be was me. I had to direct myself in that way. I had to pick and choose a direction. And it came down, and I think this is something that happens to everybody at some point in their life, whether they realize it or not. It comes down to you. No one is coming to save you. No one is coming to fix you, give you the answers, and give you the keys to success. It's up to you. Man, woman, whatever. It doesn't matter. It is up to you. You have to do that. Whatever direction you want to go in, no one else can tell you. They can help you get there. They can help you and be like, okay, well, what do you want to do? What do you like? What have you tried? Great. If you don't have that self-awareness and you don't have that drive and that want and that direction, more or less, you're never going to get there. So for me, trying to find that direction is really what I was calling to at this point in the song. um Trying to figure out where I'm being guided to. Is it music? Is it school? Am I being guided back to you? I have no idea, but I'm hoping I'll find out soon. That is really diving deeper into the dilemma of what it is that I was going through at that point in my life. I was at a loss. I didn't really know who I was. I didn't know what direction I was going in. And on top of that, in that moment was when I started calling out to God. I started, I would go sit like on the roof of my garage. I'd smoke a little bit and then I'd just sit up there and look up at the stars. And I would literally ask God, I'd be like, man, what the hell do you want me to do? Where do I need to go? What is it that I need to be doing right now in this life? Because I have no clue. And through a lot of those conversations and a lot of that self reflection, I got those answers. And, I think that in dire times and when you get desperate, you'll look for those signs. You'll look for those things to steer you in that direction externally. For me at that point, I was constantly looking around. I was constantly looking around for things that would tell me what to do. And I would really, it's kind of weird because like part of me does believe that there is some kind of like spiritual significance to that. Whenever you see something, it just resonates really deeply. For me, music was resonating really heavily for me at that point in time. where like anything, I would look for any sign as to why I should continue music. But really, what I found in that is that it's more internal based, where it's like you're looking for confirmation externally for what you already know internally. So I'll give you a good example. Early on in my music journey, I was dealing with a lot of doubt in my abilities, a doubt in my direction, because to be honest with you, I had no idea if I was going to be able to do it or not. Even to this day, sometimes I have those doubts where it's like, am I going to be able to pull this off? Am I going to be able to reach my dreams, my goals, and all that? But early on, it was crippling, to be honest with you. And I remember I was like, oh, give me a sign. Like, give me a sign that I should keep going with this. And literally, like, days later, an old friend of mine messages me and is telling me I'm really excited about this Linkin Park. I probably should use this for the album. Hell, um, there was a Meteora version of Linkin Park, their original. They're putting a vinyl out for it. Long story short, so I can get the damn worm vibe out of the way. Um, they were releasing Meteora on vinyl, and they announced it on Twitter at the time, and I was so excited about it because at that point in time that was my favorite album of all time. It's up there. It there's a lot of them get interchanged in there, but it's one of the ones that's interchanged in that rotation. But it was a blue vinyl, my favorite color. It was coming out on my birthday, and when we went to go buy it, it was the last one that was there. And me, I was like, oh, that's my sign. I need to continue with music. Part of me is like, okay, what are the odds that that happens when I'm looking for that? But another part of me is like, I was looking for that sign at the same time. I wanted to see something to confirm that that was what I was supposed to be doing. And that was a lot of my relationship with God at that time. And I was like, what do I need to do? Like, do I need to go to music? Do I need to go back to school and go back and give this up and go be a physical therapist? Do I need to go and find some kind of education, schooling, whatever it was? Because at the time I was fresh out of dropping out of medical school, basically. Like I was pre-med for physical therapy. Am I being guided back to you? That how I meant it versus how I see it right now could be two different things. Am I being guided back to you could be like, am I being guided back to God? Because at this point, I was kind of wishy-washy with where I was at with my faith. Uh, I knew that I believed in God, but I had walked away from Christianity at that point. I used to be a Christian, not really much in practice, just more like people asked me what faith you were. I was like, I'm a Christian. Like I believed in Jesus and the Bible and all that. But I've since changed my religious beliefs to where now I sort of am just independent. Like I have my own relationship with God is the best way I can describe it. Um, but really how I meant it initially was, am I being guided back to you talking about the girl, talking about her and like kind of restarting that addiction cycle that I was in, where I was really sold on the fact that I was going to end up with her. I was really sold on the fact that this dream that I had of her and I making music together was going to work out. And it wasn't working out, and it wasn't working out on my timetable that I had planned for myself. And a lot of what the song gets into is basically giving that up to God and being like, I don't know. I don't know when this is going to work out. I don't know how this is going to go. I just have to live it and play the story and play the game as it is, the game of life. I I don't get to know until it happens. So, I'm trying to figure out all this stuff, and I'm like stressing over it basically. And in my vocal tonality, it sounds very monotone, very numb, and it's because it was sort of intentional, because that was sort of the vibe of the album I wanted to go with. Because at this time, man, a lot of the way I dealt with it was just bottling up me, like, man, it's whatever, I don't really care. And I just, what a time. Who am I don't really know, but I'm trying my best to figure it out. Like, it was very monotone. I was very depressed. It was supposed to sound like that. um where do I begin? Why is my patience running thin? What if I don't win in the end? Do I lose myself or do I lose my friends? Is that it? Does my life just end unnatural? I'm thinking something more along the lines of and then bang. Whew, that's a that's deep. There's a lot to unpack there. So where do I begin? I really just, at this point, I knew I wanted to be a musician. At least I thought I wanted to. I had started producing on FL Studio, but I did not have the discipline to actually sit down and learn it because I was bad at it. And at this point in my life, I had never really been bad at something. I've always gravitated towards quick learning. I've always been able to pick things up really easily. So with music, when I didn't get to pick things up very easily, it was hard for me. Like it was very discouraging, and I had to teach myself how to be okay with that to continue doing it. Um, and where do I begin? Like, I was trying to figure out what way to go. Where do I go? And then like, where do I even begin at with all the problems that I've got? Because I realized at this point in time that I had a lot of problems. That it's overwhelming when you realize that. When you take a cold look in the mirror at yourself and your own two eyes and you don't like the reflection and you're like, damn, I got a lot of work to do. It's almost more anxiety inducing than living with the anxiety that you've had from not doing the work. Like it's exhausting because you sit there and you're like, where do I even start? But as cliche and as cheesy as it sounds, the truth is that you just start somewhere. You just start. Because if you don't start, it's never going to gain any progress. You're never going to gain any momentum with it. But if you do start, even if you suck at it, eventually you're going to find yourself at a spot where you suck a little bit less, and then you suck a little bit less, and eventually you're good at it. And it's just a long process. Unfortunately, that process takes a lot of patience. Why is my patience running thin? Like, I typically prided myself back then as a relatively patient person. I can be. It's hit or miss. It depends on with what. Um, but at this point, my patience was running really thin because I was putting this pressure on myself of like, I got to figure this out now. This needs to be done now. This relationship, all my goals and shit with it need to be here now. And oh, dude, it's like you cannot go about life that way because yes, you can strive for things, you can work towards them, and the harder that you work at them, 9 times out of 10, the quicker it's going to come. But with growth, with healing, with love, patience is like one of the biggest things in any of that because at the end of the day, it's not just your timetable that's involved. There are so many other factors that are at play. And, with healing, for example, there's a lot to digest in that. There is so much to digest when it comes to that hurt that people have put on you or that hurt that you've put on yourself. And it takes a long time. I'm still healing from things from this album. I'm still healing from it. I'm still feeling the effects and the guilt and the shame and stuff from it at times. And this is 4 years after the events of what even happened. Hell, I went to the gym today and I ran into the person that this song and this part of the album is about. And I still get anxiety about it because it is literally like, it's just a long process. It stirs a lot of emotions that you don't like to feel. They're very uncomfortable. And for me, whenever I experience that, my patience tends to run a little bit thin. And then, like, I start to worry about things. And what if I don't win in the end? What, do I lose myself? Do I lose my friends? Like, these are like, this is textbook borderline personality, that fear of abandonment that is involved with it is like, do I lose myself? Like, I've already felt like I lost myself chasing after this girl. Like, what if this doesn't work out in the end? Like, all these things that I want to work out with her, all these things I want to work out with my music career. What if it doesn't work out? And that fear is paralyzing and it keeps you from starting. It keeps you from beginning. And really, anytime that I've come across that, I try to meet that with action. And I found that that's a pretty good way to go about it because meeting it with that action honestly does away with a lot of the anxiety. But that anxiety is very hard to push past initially. Um, do I lose my friends? Like, you know, I worried a lot about losing my friends and losing my friend group because I'm very grateful for them. They are great people. I am incredibly thankful that they have been a part of my life, especially for as long as they've been a part of my life. And I try not to take that for granted because I understand that it is a blessing. And, when I was sitting there and I was like, okay, like what if I get famous and things change and I don't really click with them anymore or they don't click with me anymore? What if I put myself out there and they judge me for it and then they get to know like the true deep side of me that is there and they hate it and reject it and then they walk away from me? Like, those were actual thoughts that went through my mind quite a bit, and it sucked because like it was just so much added stress that I didn't need to have. And I released the album and My friends, they give me honest feedback about it, but generally it's been positive, and I'm very grateful for that because like it silences a little bit of that fear. It silences a little bit of that like worry that I had with all of it, and it's just nice to know that amidst all of that I'm still able to keep those relationships and to keep myself through it now. Like I feel the most myself when I'm making music, when I'm involved with it. So um but is that it? Does my life just end? It's really dramatic, but like at the time it made sense lyrically because I was really all this stress and the girl and whatnot. I told you in one of the earlier videos that I was suicidal. Like uh and I was just like, like is that it, man? Like, if I fail at this, if I fuck this up, is that everything? Like is that it? Like am I just better off dead at that point? And I was also very suicidal and like I wanted to, rather than just saying that again, I wanted to demonstrate that in the song. I'll get more into that with the production video, but that's why the song goes the way that it does, where like now not something natural, something more along the lines of and then fires a gun and then you hear like the blood drip and all that and the heartbeat like slow down a little bit. Like that's what I was going for. Was I was like, I want to illustrate this. I want to drive that point home and be like, this is where I was at. And it was because I was stressing so much about all this shit that in all honesty, when I look back in hindsight, I had nothing to stress about. Like I said, I still talk to those friends. Some of them not as much as others. Some of them not as much as I would like to, but you get to be an adult, life happens. But I have a better relationship with myself than I did, a way better relationship with myself right now than I did back then. And things whatever happened with that girl, but like at the end of the day, I'm in a better spot now than I was back then. And I'm coming off right now of being in a bad spot already. Like a year ago and in some change, I was in a mental hospital. Like, you know, I've I did lose myself again throughout that, but I gained myself back, and it took getting here and dropping down to there to really like in that mindset to really start that process. In a weird way, looking at it now, like it kind of was the start, to be honest with you. Like, I hit that low, that rock bottom basically, and then I guess I kind of found where I began because when you begin at rock bottom, well, the only place to go is up. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue the song now. Maybe. Hang on. All right, there we go. Natural. I'm thinking something more along the lines of a. As my angels sing. That can't be the way that this goes. Trying to figure it all out, but only God knows. I said that can't be the way that this goes. Trying to figure it all out, but only God knows. It's wild to me a month ago, going to college for physical therapy until I gained some knowledge that PT ain't my fucking calling. I was just shooting a shot in the dark, falsely influenced by society, trying to ascend to the higher me. I'm second guessing everything I even considered architecture, but I ain't trying to sit in all those lectures, and at the same time I ain't trying to deal with the pressure of chasing a dream. I was stuffing my face in a pillow late at night as I screamed, felt the warm touch of a spirit touching me on multiple occasions. Man, this shit is amazing. I'm a handful of experiences so convincing it could turn an atheist. Came by and changed my perspective. I'm sick of learning all these lessons while I'm bumping some John Belly. And as I turn up my headphones, crying tears, listening stupid deep. This pain built up for years, guess you could say it runs stupid deep. And the answers were stupid cheap. Just had to look deep inside of me for this love and for this passion that haunts me through the memories of the childhood I was lacking. Son, don't you give up on me. I won't allow it to happen. That. All right. Wow, I did not realize how long that verse is. It's like half the damn song. Oh my god. All right. So, okay, we'll start right here. So it goes into the part where it's like, as my angels sang, and so in the background of this, you hear the like really high pitched singing, and that's pretty much serving as the melody. So that's me actually. I sang that. I That was one of the first things I ever actually recorded for this album that stuck all the way through was that singing. That never changed. That was one take. I sat there, I did it, and I was like, all right, that's it. I'm using that. That's kind of dope. And funny enough, I'll get more into this with the production video, but this song was, Lovesick was the first one that I wrote and liked and was like, this has potential to really be something. Heal was the first song that I wrote, period. Um, as in, like, the first thing that I wrote that actually made it onto the album. Not the first lines that I wrote or anything. That was a different thing. I shared that in Lovesick. But the first, like, song that got written and was put onto the album that just came after chronologically, this was the first beat that I made that I really, really liked for this album. Um, I love this beat. This is probably my favorite beat on the album. And the biggest reason why is like when I was sitting there and I was making it, I did the angel singing on it, and then I added the like drums in it. And when I did the drums was when I fell in love with it because it was like, I don't know, I was just sitting there having fun with it, and that thing bumped, and I was like, oh my lord, man! Like I just made some top tier shit right there. And then I messed with like the hi hats and whatnot, like the and I was making them pan. And I know I did that in Heal, but I did it here, and it was like that was the start of me really finding my sound. I started finding some ways to do some stuff. And then I was like, oh man, I discovered panning. It's game over, man. Like, oh wow. And yeah, I mean, it. I really really like the beat of this song, but anyway, going back into the lyrics, I'll get more into that because that this beat's gonna be a lot of fun to break down. Um, Going back into the lyrics though, so I was like, as my angels sang, it was kind of like I felt like I had something watching over me at this point in my life because I did not really have much of a relationship with God going into this. Like I kind of was just a call out as you need kind of guy. This period of my life really changed that for me because I really, really felt something. Both like mentally, like spiritually, and like my soul and whatnot, and then physically as well. And that was the part that got me, to be honest with you. That was weird. Um, I there was one day I'll never forget this as long as I live. I was laying in my bed and I was crying. Like I anytime that I would have like a mental breakdown when I was alone. So it was just me laying in this dark room by myself trying to go to sleep, but then just needing to let off some steam, so I just cry. And I remember like I was in the middle of crying, and I got towards the end of it, and I heard a like it was like a fatherly voice in my head, um, and it said, "Come home, son." I to this day don't know what that was, but it was something, man. Like, and it gives me like it gives me chills sometimes when I think about it, man. Because like how I interpreted it back then was I was like, oh man, like that is that God? Like God calling out to me or something? Like what's going on here? And really that moment started me going back through my religion and like my faith and beginning to exercise that again because I realized I was like, damn man, like maybe there is something deeper out here that I really can connect with and can help me here. And I've had other experiences too where it's like I've had some really weird spiritual experiences. I'll have to get into some of those in another video, but like I I mean, this is gonna make me sound absolutely batshit insane, but I've had something touch me before, and it's like a bright light presence is the best way I can describe it. It's like euphoric in a way, and that's why I'll get further into that as we get to the line that I mentioned that in. But going right here, like that can't be the way that this goes. Trying to figure it all out, but only God knows. And I just repeat it again. Pretty much what I'm saying is like, no, dude, you can't kill yourself. You can't. Like, you can, yes, but we're not going to. And the reason why is because that's the easy way out. You're going to face your problems like a man. You're going to level up. You're going to do better. And that's kind of what I felt like hitting rock bottom and then connecting with God got me into the mentality of doing, was sitting there and being like, okay, no, I'm not going to let this, I'm not going to wallow in self pity and decide I'm going to take my life and be selfish and put all that hurt and all that pain onto the people around me that love me. Why would I do that? Like, these people want to see me succeed. They want to see me level up. They want to see me do something with my life. So it's time to step up and go do it. And, it was also sort of a way of like all these stressors, all these things that I'm stressing about, all this patience or lack thereof that I'm struggling through. I can give that to God. I can put that elsewhere. I can understand that things are not going to work out when I think they are, when I want them to. Things are going to work out when I'm ready for them to. And I don't know what God is. I don't know who anything. I couldn't tell you. I've never met the dude. Like, well, what I can tell you is there is some sort of like, if you want to look at like a video game system or whatever, you don't meet certain thresholds until you are ready for them. You're not until you are ready for those challenges, until you are ready to take those steps. You don't meet that. I'm not sitting here performing in front of 80,000 people because I'm not ready for that. Simple as that. I haven't put in the work. I'm not there yet. And the only person in my experience that'll know when that time is future me and God. And that's it. And I had to put myself in that mentality, really, where it's like, I don't know. The only person that does is God. And God can be whatever you want. He can be a metaphor for the unknown. He can be the person pulling all the strings. Whatever you want to say. You're atheist, if you're Christian, if you're Muslim, Hindu, whatever the hell. I don't care what religion you are at the end of the day. It's whatever you call that thing. It's the only thing that's ever going to know until you get there. But anyway, this goes into furthering this narrative more or less of I don't really know where I'm going. I don't know what to do. And then it's like, this starts like that reflection really where it's like, it's wild to me. I'm about to go going to college, physical therapy until I gain some knowledge at PT at my fucking calling. I was shooting a shot in the dark, falsely influenced by society. So this is kind of a take that I've got. And it's like, at this point in my life, I was 20 years old. I was 2 years deep into going to school for physical therapy. My uncle was a big inspiration in my life growing up. I think that he is a fantastic man. I've DJ'd his wedding. I think that him and his husband are incredible people. They have hearts of gold. They love to give and give and give. They love to party and have fun. Like, they're great people to be around. My uncle is a physical therapist. He was the first person in my entire family to get a doctorate degree. And I admire him for that. And I admired him for that. And that's why I wanted to go for physical therapy. But I just found that it wasn't for me. And it wasn't my calling. And I was really just shooting a shot in the dark because, at 18 years old, when you go to college, especially for someone like me, because I dropped out of high school, college was never really an option for me past my like freshman, sophomore year of high school. Like, I went from being an honor student and a gifted kid to a high school dropout burnout that people forgot about by senior year of high school. And for me to even get into community college at Ivy Tech, which is where I was at, it was a huge deal because I felt like I had beat the odds of being a high school dropout and getting my GED. And I was shooting my shot to go be a doctor. But, I was shooting a shot in the dark, really. I didn't know that I wanted to do that. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I'm cool with healthcare. I work it right now. But I didn't love it. And that was kind of my issue with it. I was like, okay, do I want to be 26, getting out of PT school with my doctorate, doing something and paying that much money into something that I don't know that I love and that I don't know that I really want to do for the rest of my life? No. And I had to find something else, which is where I landed on music. But when I say falsely influenced by society, I feel like there's such a societal pressure from people to have your life figured out at 18 years old. And I think that is ridiculous. I think that is, I will stand on this. There's passion flowing from these veins about this topic because I hate it. I can't stand. I don't get why we do this to kids. Because at the end of the day, when you're 18, 19, 20 years old, you're still a damn kid. Like, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know. You think you do, but you don't know what the hell you're doing at all. You have no idea. You don't even know who you are. I still am trying to figure out who I am to my fullest, like, who I really am at some days. Like, and I'm 24, about to be 25 in a couple of months. Like, you are 20, 18, 19. Like, you don't know what you want to do for the rest of your life. And so many people fall into this trap of go to school, get a college degree, get yourself in 60, 70, 80, $100,000 in debt to go do something that you hate doing for the rest of your life. Why? Get to know yourself. Take some time. Go live life. Go work a BS job for a couple of years and experience what that's like. Get some customer service reps under your belt. Get, some work experience, get some life experience. Go find who you are before you go settle into a career choice for the rest of your life. If you're 18 and you've got that down, okay, great, awesome. Some people, they can do it a little bit earlier than others. But I feel like in my experience, for the majority, most people haven't given it that much thought. They haven't given it that much, I guess, reflection, more or less, where it's like you sit there and you try to get to know yourself and you try to get to know who you are, who you want to be, and you take control over that. And you begin to actively pursue something instead of just saying, oh, yeah, I'm going to go be a nurse because I like to help people. Not hating on nursing degrees or anything like that, but like that's where I was at with physical therapy. It's like I want to help people, and I tore my knee up when I was in high school, so I want to help people. It's like great, yeah, but is that really what you want to do? Is that really what you want to do? Why don't you go find out if that's what you want to do, and then go get into it if that's really what you want to do? Because there's so many people that I see out in the medical field now that are in it for the money. They're burnt out and they're in it not for patient care, not because they have a passion for that. They're in it because it puts food on the table and they're miserable because of it. Don't go that route. Like, sit there, assess, figure out who you are, what you want to do, what you enjoy, what things that you have been attracted to, and why, and understand that before you fully jump into something like that. Like, I'm sorry, I went on a rant there, but like, I feel very passionate about that. I don't think we should be pressuring people at 18 years old to have the rest of their life figured out. That's ridiculous to me. But going back into the lyrics, trying to ascend to the higher me, I'm second guessing everything. I even considered architecture, but I ain't trying to sit in all those lectures. But at the same time, I'm not trying to deal with the pressure of chasing a dream. So when I was younger, I wanted to be an architect, and I was considering this idea where basically what I was going to do was I was going to go be an architect. I have not looked into the legality of this. It could be very illegal. I have no idea. I didn't do it, so it doesn't matter. But I was going to become an architect. I was going to hire kids straight out of high school that wanted to be an architect, but didn't want to go to college for it. And I basically was going to teach them how to be an architect. I was going to teach them what I needed, what I expected, what I wanted them to do as far as drawing up designs and whatnot. And then I was going to have them pass me their drawings, their designs, and all that. And me as an architect read over it and sit there and be like, okay, this is where you did wrong. This is where you did right. This is what we can do to fix this. This design is salvageable. Let's go ahead and get this. And then I would give them a cut of the money. Like I would take like, they did most of the work. I'd take like 30 to 50%, or I don't know, just spitballing a number out there and signing it, because basically how it would be is like, you did the work, I'm putting my license on the line for this, we'll work together, you get some of the money, I get some of the money. And then I was going to build a business going up that way. That was where I was at with architecture. But to be honest with you, I didn't want to put in the work for it. I didn't have the passion for it. It sounded way cooler in my head than it ever did for me to actually want to sit down and do it. And at the same time, I didn't want to deal with the pressure of chasing the dream. Like, it's a tremendous amount of pressure to sit there and look at yourself in the mirror and go, I'm going to be a touring musician at some point in my life. I'm going to be someone that is getting streamed heavily on Spotify, that's playing at festivals, that's selling out arenas. Like, that's what I want. That's what I wanted at that point in time. And it was very, very intimidating to sit there and look up the mountain at that goal and then look down at the rock that you just started climbing and be like, damn, I got a long, long way to go. Especially when you don't know anything about it. I didn't know how to play the guitar. I didn't know how to play an instrument. I didn't know how to produce. I had to learn all of that then. And it was like, okay, which one do you want? You got to eat a shit sandwich. Which one do you think is going to taste the best? Do you want to go to college for another thing that you don't want to do? Do you want to chase your dream and do a lot of work that you don't want to do? Pick one. And all of that had me stressing out. And I just put I would stuff my face in a pillow late at night as a scream, because that was sort of like a way that I would let off some energy back then, or just some anger and frustration. It was like, I didn't want to wake anybody up in the house because there were other people there, and I didn't want anybody to know I was going through some shit. I just screamed into a pillow because it worked. It got it done for the night and for the time being. Felt the warm touch of a spirit touching me on multiple occasions. Man, this shit is amazing how a handful of experiences so convincing it could turn an atheist. So, way, way, way back in my hippie era, I did some things. I'm not going to get into that. But long story short, I met some like entities. And when I met them, and like, I remember like I came out of a really, really, what did not seem like a good entity to be messing around with in that hippie psychedelic world. I I came across something I did not need to be messing with, and I literally got a hand on my chest, and then it was like a scan, more or less, is the best way I can describe it, of just like uplifting positive energy just flowing through my entire body. And dude, it was terrifying. It was weird. I honestly, the best way I can describe what that thing looked like is if you've ever seen Soul Eater. So whenever Soul goes into his mind and he's like playing the piano and whatnot, and that little like gremlin thing, the ogre, that's almost exactly what that thing looked like. And then that happened, and I was like, bro, like, wow, this shit's real. And that's why I say it's like so convincing it could turn an atheist. I sound absolutely insane talking about this, and I'm fully consciously aware of that. But that experience changed my perspective on everything. That told me there is real shit out there. And it really solidified my belief in my faith and my belief in God, because I mean, how else do you describe that? Like, I don't know. If you've got any better ideas, please leave me a comment and tell me. But I have no idea how else to describe that. But anyway, going back into it and like furthering my growth amidst all of this was, I'm sick of learning all these lessons. I came by and changed my perspective on everything. And I'm sick of learning all these lessons while I'm bumping some John Belly. And if I turn up my headphones, crying tears, listening to Stupid Deep, this pain built up for years because you could say it runs stupid deep. So I've talked before about my love for John Bellion as an artist. I think he's incredible. I don't listen to him as much anymore, but I think he is a incredibly versatile and incredibly talented musician. Um, so he talks a lot about his God and his faith and whatnot and his music. But for me, like, I felt like I was on this like karmic path, and I still kind of am. I don't think that path really ever ends. And it was like me learning lessons and me taking that pain and channeling it into what can I learn? What can I gain from this? What can I, uh, where can I grow from all of this? And all of that while I'm bumping John Bellion because I got really into his music. And that was really just me saying I was getting into his music. But one song that I really was touched by, and it goes all the way back to the start where it's like, what a time, who am I, is the song Stupid Deep by John Bellion. And in that song, he's like, in the music video, he's like drowning and he's singing. He's like, what if who I meant to be was always me? And basically just saying like, what if this person that I've been trying to be, what if this person that I have been yearning for, this hole in my heart, like all of this stuff, what if all of this just needs to be filled by the fact that like I'm me, and that's okay, and that's the end of it? Like, what if all the answers to all of that is just me and just being myself and being true to myself and loving myself. And that was really where the whole thought process of beginning to learn how to love myself began. Was that, like, that song meant a lot to me. It really hit me right in the heart at a time when I needed to hear it, where it was like, you know, I didn't know who I was, and I wanted to find out who that was. But in order to do that, I had to learn who the true me was. And really, the answers were easy to find. It was a lot of self reflection, and that part of it was hard, but it was just me. And it was unapologetically being me. It wasn't curving and molding myself to fit a mold of something that I wasn't. It was just saying, fuck that mold. If you don't like me, don't like me. If you like me, like me. And that was it. And I gained so much confidence and so much love for myself after I hit that point. But this was a lot of that point when that started. And this pain built up for years. Guess you could say it runs stupid deep. And the answers were stupid cheap. Just had to look deep inside of me for this love and for this passion. Like, pretty much what I'm saying is, like, everything and all those answers I was looking for externally, like in the girl, externally in those signs I was telling you about, um, externally in validation from others when it came to like jobs, or like people telling me I'm, praising me or whatever, like people giving me their approval. I didn't need any of that. It was all in me the whole time. I just had to give myself that permission. I had to look deep inside of me. I had to put in that work. Uh, yeah, so like, just had to look deep inside of me for this love and for this passion that haunts me through the memories of the childhood I was lacking. Like, that's a fucking crazy deep part, to be honest with you. Because like, I'm looking inside of me for this love and for this passion. Like, I'd gone numb at that point, like I mentioned earlier. So, I had to welcome in those feelings, that love, that passion, and find that thing that was like, this is what I want to do. This is what I love, what I'm passionate about, what I can speak about, what you can get me talking on and on and on and on and on about, and never will get tired of. And that was music for me. But that love and that passion haunts me through those memories of the childhood I was lacking. Basically saying, like, my traumatized past has taken that from me. It's made me gray. It's made me this jaded version of myself that can't even recognize who he is in the mirror. And it's because all that pain, all that hurt has just turned my heart to stone. Like, another John Bellion song that I really love, it's one of my favorites by him, it's called I, Robot. And it's him basically talking about, like, I had that fire, that passion and desire. Now I think the line's like, all I require is circuits and wires. And he's basically saying, like, you killed me. Like, this absolutely killed me. It tore me apart. It fucked me up. And I became numb. I became emotionless. I became like a robot, where I'm here, I'm operating, I'm doing things, but it's all autopilot. I'm just doing what I need to do to get through the day. I'm not fueled by that passion and that energy and that love, and like, I'm just here. And that's where I was at, was like, I was jaded over and just a robot, more or less. And it was not a fun way to live. Um, and then the next line is, son, don't you give up on me. I won't allow it to happen. Really, the whole reason that went in there, because looking at it now, it doesn't make a lot of sense in the context of what I was talking about, but it's kind of looping back around into that God thing again, where it was like, that come home, son. And it's like, son, don't you give up on me. I won't allow it to happen. It's like, there were a lot of times that I was getting involved with shit I shouldn't have been involved in, like when I told you about that entity that I met. Or, there were a couple of times that I felt like a welcoming presence when I would be sitting there thinking about, I have like a gun in my hand and whatnot. Like, it was kind of like there was something there that was basically telling me, like, hey man, don't give up. Like, we're going to keep going. We're going to keep struggling through this, and we're going to get through this. You got to put in the work. Just don't give up, man. And I won't allow that to happen. Like, I felt in a way guided and protected by, you call it angels, you call it God, you call it whatever you want. But my higher self, maybe, I don't know. But I felt protected by something. So it kind of was like calling out to that, more or less. But we're going to go ahead and continue the song. Hopefully I don't have technical difficulties this time.
trying to figure it all out, but only God knows. I said that can't be the way that this goes. Trying to figure it all out, but only God knows. Still fighting through the pain of rejection, tripped up on if I should move along and send you another message. Trying to shift my energy and claim all of my blessings, giving up on that degree, and you're the reason that I left it. Going after music career, not something I really imagined. It was a childhood dream that was too big to imagine. I started vetting all these feelings and the pain it's attached with, going back to stupid deep in that love I was lacking. My true ascension from the sheep is what led me to rapping. Guess you could say this was God's way of telling me this is my only path, man. So get up on your feet before the devil starts kicking your ass again. That can't be the way that this goes. Trying to figure it all out, but only God knows. I said that can't be the way that this goes. Trying to figure it all out, but only God knows.
All right, so that is the song. That's the entire song, but I'm going to go ahead and break down these lyrics now. Where are we at? All right. Still fighting through the pain of rejection, tripped up on if I should move along or send you another message. So that's, once again, like dealing with that addiction with the girl again, and that's a large part of what I keep looping back to, and you can kind of see the addiction, to be honest with you. And I think that's actually kind of cool looking back at it in hindsight, but pretty much just being like, okay, yeah, she rejected me, but I'm tripped up on if I should keep trying or if I should move on. And that's where that fork in the road kind of comes in again. Trying to shift my energy and claim all of my blessings. So at this point, I got really into spirituality. And a lot of that is talking about like managing your energy and talking about managing like, you know, where you place things, who you let speak into your life, who you put your energy into and whatnot. And for me, it was like, I was trying to put my energy into myself and shift it away from wasting my time on something that didn't want me and didn't want me around and didn't appreciate me and the energy I was putting in and wasn't pouring back, and trying to claim all of my blessings, basically saying like, I'm trying to put that energy towards something that's a little bit more productive, that's going to bless me, bring me more joy in life, bring me a level of happiness, a level of identity, you know, bring me that stability in my life, and just bring me good things in general. Like I hadn't really felt like I experienced a lot of that in my life, and I was trying to move more towards that opposed to rehashing this cycle of negativity, really. Giving up on that degree, and you're the reason that I left it, going after a music career, not something I really imagined. It was a childhood dream that was too big to imagine. So I've been all these feelings and the pain it's attached with, going back stupid deep in that love I was lacking. So pretty much what I'm saying here is that I gave up on that degree. I gave up on physical therapy. You're the reason that I left it. Like, as much as a simp thing as this is, and as much as I hate to admit this, that girl was a lot of the reason I started music. Because like I said in the Lovesick video, I was like, I thought it was the coolest thing in the world that she was making music the way that she was, and was confident about it, and like was about that, and like that's what she did. That was her thing. I thought that was dope as shit. And it really, when I started to reflect a lot about it, and I understood like why I kind of wanted to do it, was because I didn't have that confidence in myself to do it. And I think that's really what I was attracted to with her, was she had that confidence to do that. And I always wanted to. And like looking back at it, you know, back when I was a child, like, you know, when I was like 10 years old, I used to tell my best friend back then, I was like, yeah, man, like you and I are going to be, we're going to be members of Big Time Rush, man. And like, I wanted to perform up there with them, and I wanted to be a part of that band. And, you know, I look back at it now, like today I was thinking about this. So another one of my best friends back then, when I was in third grade, we were going to go do a talent show, and I was going to sing Schools Out by, who fucking sings that song? Is it like Alice Cooper or something like that? I don't know. I could be way off. I really hope that I'm not, but oh well. But it was on Guitar Hero 3. So I was going to sing Schools Out, and it was going to be like the summer song. And I was like, oh, it's perfect, man. And like, I was so excited to do that. And then we left the damn CD at home, and I had to go up in front of everybody and be like, yeah, nah, we left the CD at home, sorry. And then take the walk of shame all the way back. But like, bro, being a performer in music, like that's been in my blood. I've wanted to do that since I was a child. And I used to like play Guitar Hero for all of my family and whatnot for family gatherings like that. I was like, I'll provide the music, don't worry about it. At like the ripe age of 7 years old, man, like I was sitting there like, yeah, nah, I'm the rock star, damn it, I know what I'm doing. But I never had the confidence in myself to pursue that. And that's why I say it was a childhood dream that was too big to imagine. Like I had no idea how I was ever going to get there. I was just like, yep, I'm a kid, ha ha ha, it's funny, I'm going to be a musician. And then never followed through on any of it. Like when I got a guitar at like 10 or 12 years old and I never learned how to play it, like it was just too big for me to imagine, and I didn't have the dedication that I do now for it. But then like I kind of get into, I started venting all these feelings and the pain it's attached with. Like I started venting out everything that I was feeling, all these thoughts, all these troubles that I was going through, and the pain that comes with it. And it's hard because you say some things. Dude, I was making a song the other day for my new album that I'm not gonna say when it's coming out because I don't really know. But this new album that I've been working on, this new project I've been working on, I wrote a song and it's a deep cut song. And I was sitting there recording lyrics for it, man, and I literally broke down in the middle of saying it, and it's just because like talking about those feelings and talking about that pain, like it is a painful process because like you got to live it, but the only way through those things and through those feelings is through. You got to let it out and you got to go through it. You can't avoid it. You can't cover it up. It doesn't go anywhere. You can put a band-aid over a bullet hole for as long as you want, but at the end of the day, it's still a bullet hole. It's still going to bleed. And for me, like, I started venting all these feelings and the pain that's attached with, like, there was so much pain attached to it, but venting it was the only thing that was helping getting it out and getting it to a point where my brain can wrap its head around it and be able to live with it, take what I can learn from it and move on. And then I looped all of this. I didn't even realize that I did this, but going back to Stupid Deep and that love that I was lacking, that's kind of like putting the end to that statement earlier, talking about the John Bellion stuff of like dealing with that pain of not knowing who I was. Like that was kind of going back to Stupid Deep. That was who I was. That's where I found my sense of identity. That's where I found who I feel most comfortable being, where I feel the most like myself is whenever I'm sitting in front of a microphone talking, sitting in front of a microphone talking about music, sitting in front of a microphone recording music, sitting in front of a laptop making music, sitting in the classroom learning about music. Like I felt the most myself when I'm around music just in general. And that was kind of like, hey, this is where I'm at. Like this is where I feel like me. That's answering the question of Stupid Deep. Like what if who I'm meant to be is always me? That is me. I feel so, my music is an expression of myself, and it's where I can be my truest self without that judgment, because it's just me, the mic, and the computer, and that's it. Like I just sit there and I make and I express how I feel, and it's been an incredible coping mechanism for me. If you were looking for a coping mechanism, I would strongly recommend it. It'll frustrate the hell out of you, but it's so worth it. My true ascension from the sheep is what led me to rapping. Guess you could say it's God's way of telling me this is my only path, man. So get up on your feet before the devil starts kicking your ass again. So my true ascension from the sheep is what led me to rapping. Going back to what I was talking about with the college thing and people putting the societal pressure and people feeling this need to fit in with society. What I'm saying here is that, like, I said, fuck fitting in. Fuck that. I'm not doing it. I'm going to go after what I want to do. I'm going to go do what Sean wants to do. And this was really one of the first what Sean wants to do things I've ever done in my life. Previously, and a lot of why I got in the medical field too, was like I was always about service. I was always about what can I do for you? It was never about me. I could never be selfish, really. Like it was really hard for me to do. Now, don't get me wrong, there were times that I was selfish as shit and just didn't realize it. But generally speaking, I was always a giver, never a taker. And even to this day, I'm largely that way as well. But at this point, it was just like, man, like with the girl, I wanted to give her all this attention and shower her with love and whatnot, but I never got it back. I was never taking anything for myself. and it was exhausting. But this was me saying, you know what, fuck that. Like, what Sean wants to do, what Sean's passion is, what Sean feels very strongly about is music. I'm gonna go do that because that's where my heart's at. That's where my soul's at. Like, not even just my heart, man. It's like my soul. Like, when I don't do music, my soul hurts. And I'll get deeper into that here in a second. But, you know, like, I felt like when I got in touch with rapping and making music in general, that was when I felt most alive. I felt like myself. I felt the most complete. And guess you could say this was God's way of telling me this is my only path, man. Like, I don't think I have another path in this life. Yes, I have a job right now that I work. Yes, I do at that job what I would consider to be good work. Yes, I have other things that I do hobby wise. I have other things that I've done work wise. I have other things that I do as far as like friends, as far as like personal growth, like my fitness goals and whatnot. But the one thing that I feel like will always be on my path is music. And it's always been in my life. It's been the one thing that no matter where I'm at in life, no matter what I've done, no matter what situation I found myself in, it's the one thing that has always been there for me, has never left. And for someone with borderline personality disorder, where things leaving is the one of your biggest fears, man, like, music has always been there for me. I have never had to worry about that. And I'm incredibly grateful and eternally indebted to music for that, because it has given me life. Not just like me upliving around, it has made me feel alive. That feeling of you're doing something, you're working towards something, you're growing at something, you're getting better at something. That feeling of like, yeah, there's that fire, there's that passion, there's all this stuff that I got pouring into this. Like, that's music for me, man. And it's the only thing that I can ever see myself doing in the long run. So the next line is, so get up off your feet before the devil starts kicking your ass again. Part of my religious beliefs is like, I do sort of believe in like the God and the devil, like that entity thing. At this point, I 100% did. But I also kind of take my own interpretation of it too. And like, God is like these positive, hopeful, love emotions and whatnot. And then the devil is like these shitty emotions that suck, like, you know, anger and, you know, like bitterness and jealousy and greed and all of those things and whatnot. And like sadness and disappointment and shame, like those heavy emotions, man. I feel like you get involved with whenever you start fucking with like devil and whatnot. And just doing bad shit, more or less. Not necessarily fucking with the devil. Don't take that too literally. But, you know, get up off your feet before the devil starts kicking your ass again. Really what I'm getting at here is the one thing I do really like about like Catholicism is like the 7 deadly sins concept. And like in this would be the 7 deadly sins of like sloth, basically, where you're not being active. You're not actively pursuing anything. You're not actively, up and moving and doing something. And when I find myself on the days where I don't do things, oh my lord, like I don't care how tired I am, those days are my worst days. Like I could be up, tired, pissed off and moving around and have a way better day than the days when I'm laying on my ass doing nothing, because I always feel like I could be doing something else. And for me at this point, I was the complete opposite. I didn't want to have to get up and do anything because I was so depressed. Like I didn't want to have to get up and do anything at all. Like, and I felt like there was this thing dragging me down all the time. And really, it was just like I was so anxious and depressed, and it was feeding that loop of not doing anything and that loop of inactivity. And it was a lot to do with the fact that I was, you know, not, just wasn't active in anything at all. I literally laid down, got high. I wake up, go get high, come back into my room, listen to music, and then just chill for the entire day. Sounds simple and fun to some people, but it was in hindsight, it's a nightmare now. Like, I wanted to be moving towards something, and I only feel happy and joy and like myself, and I feel that passion flowing through my veins, that fire flowing through my heart and my soul, only when I'm up pursuing this dream. And you know, every time that I sit down, it feels like the devil's kicking my ass, because I'm sitting there thinking like, oh man, I could be doing this, oh man, I could be doing that, oh man, you know, you're never going to reach your goals if you're sitting here on your ass. Like, it made me really sit there and fully, it was kicking me while I was down to get me up, is what I'm getting at. And that's why I said, like, so get up on your feet. Like, go ahead, just get up now, because it's going to happen. Like, you're going to get up eventually. Save yourself the mental heartache, the mental headache of sitting there and being like, oh, you're not enough, you're not good, blah, 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 all this other shit, when you can just get up and go do it anyway. And you're going to end up there anyway, because it's going to piss you off until you get up and go. And it's like a call to action, more or less. And that's pretty much what I was getting at with this. It was like, go ahead, get up, let's go, come on. So, yeah. And then the song goes back into the chorus, and then it ends with the gunshot again, just to kind of drive that point home and put a book, like a close on that chapter and whatnot. And it also just felt like it added to like a dramatic effect, and it was a really cool way to end the song, because it was just like, I know, dude, there are people that I've talked to that hear that moment and it's uncomfortable, and I know it is, and I meant it to be. I wanted that to be uncomfortable. That was the goal, because that's where I was at, but it was the expression that I was after. I was like, no, this is where I'm at. I'm not going to shy away from this shit anymore. This is where I'm at, and I'm moving from here. And that moment is basically me doubling down on it and being like, nah, bro, I ain't sorry about that. I know damn good well what I did, and that was uncomfortable to listen to. But you know what? I don't care. I meant it. And yeah. So anyway, that's the song. That's the lyrical side of it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to end the video here so that I can make the other one. I'll probably end up making it tomorrow and uploading it shortly after as well. But yeah, the next one's going to be the production breakdown. This one's going to end up coming out, and this will just be the lyrical side of it, so that it's a little bit more broken up, not as long of videos. That way I'm not making you watch a fucking Star Wars movie or some shit while I break this down and get in depth of it. But that's it for this one. Go stream it, go check it out, drop a like, follow, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Leave me comments. It helps out the algorithm. Get people to get in on this, and I don't know, maybe get me up there where I can get a platform and end up telling my story, because, you know, not to sound full of myself or anything, but I find myself drawing inspiration from it, and I really hope that someday I can provide that inspiration to others in a way that my favorite artists and their stories have been able to provide that inspiration to me. I want to give back in that regard, because like I said, that fire, that passion, all of that thing that just lights my soul up, I would have never got here if it wasn't for them, man. So I just want to give back to somebody and some people out there, and hopefully be able to get them out of that situation myself. So with that being said, I'm gonna hop out of here. It's been real. Thanks for listening if you made it this far. Take care and peace out.
That can't be the way that this goes, trying to figure it all out, but only God knows. I said that can't be the way that this goes, trying to figure it all out, but only God knows.